Good morning. If you're watching the replay, I'm Corinne Crabtree from pnp411.com. I lost 100 pounds, let's say 14 years ago. Keeping it off, keeping it real. I'm going to talk to you guys today about your compelling reason. I'm fresh off a workout, just got through pumping that muscle, and I'm going to put my go away. So it was giving me the AirPod signal. I hope that this will be a lot better with the headphones in. Hello, Heidi, Miss Heidi. And we are going to start today. We're going to talk today about why you want to lose weight and why it's so important. I think a lot of people start losing weight and they don't understand that there's a really, one really key component to it. And I'm going to kind of talk to you about how to find your why, because a lot of people don't really know how to access it. Once you know the key secret to the why and how it can help you, you're going to want to make sure that you really understand your why and all the kind of things that go along with it. I just came off of a 5-day training with my private tribe members. So if you're one of my private members, you get the opportunity now 4 times a year to come to Nashville and do training with me, either for 5 days or for 3 days, depending on what you sign up for. And I love it because it allows me... there's one thing, it's to teach you guys on a Facebook Live and read comments and all that kind of stuff, but it's another to have real life humans in the room with you talking about the real shit that goes on, asking the questions, and I'm still tracking my workout. Let me turn that off. Just asking you the real questions and really sharing with you what they need in order to lose their weight. So it rejuvenates me for my tribe. It rejuvenates me for all of our, Facebook Lives, podcasts, all the kind of things. So it's really important. So before we dive into our why, I want to give a couple of shout outs. So if you don't know, we have PNP tribe members who are my tribe members. They all belong to a private membership. We also have PNP groupies. These are the peeps that just listen to the podcast, which we have been trending we've been in the top 100 now since way before Christmas. I mean, I don't even know when we cracked the top 100. We were number 1 for a little while in all of iTunes land. Yesterday, we were like number 50. It just fucking amazes me. Let me tell you why. At some point, we have been ranked higher than Oprah. And if Oprah likes to check to see where her podcast is ranked, she has to scroll right on past losing 100 pounds. So, Oprah, you should listen, and you will know that I want to have lunch with you one day. I live down the street from your father's church, so it's convenient, too, if you're ever in Nashville. We can just hop on over to Burger Republic, Lenox Village. So, that's my weekly shout-out to Oprah, in case anyone's listening. All right, so first, I want to do Miss Patty James from our groupies. I did it. I got up at 5 a.m., I marched my butt in there and got on the treadmill, and I walked and ran for 15 minutes. It's all I could muster. It wasn't quite a mile, but I feel like a winner. And that's what is important. You know, I teach you guys, one of the key components to weight loss is not for you to be performing at the level that you were or that you want to be after 100 pounds. When I first started, I marched my ass to the Y and did 15 minutes of walking. I did not change my food. I did not do anything. What I did was I changed my behaviors. I was like, okay, the one thing I can do is I can go and walk. I think that's what I need. I was a very overwhelmed mom. I had a 1-year-old. I was fucking tired, probably postpartum. I met myself where I was at. I knew that I needed to get out of the house, and walking was going to be something that could be that first step towards the version of me that would lose all of their weight. It also changed how I thought about it. It was the first time I'd ever lost weight where I did not think that I was going to have to be the version of Corinne today in order to lose 100 pounds. I evolved into that person. I did not start as that person. Guys, that is so important. I know we're going to talk about our why today, but it's seriously, you guys are going to have to freaking drop this idea that you have to be doing all the things you think are perfect or doing all the things that you think you're going to be doing at the end. There's a million steps in between. Just take them one at a time. You'll still get there. You don't have to take all million today. And that's the best advice I can give anyone. Guys, if you have questions, save them for when I take questions, because I will not be scrolling back to the top, because we have so many amazing people that want to listen to the live now. What I like to do is get through my bitching and preaching, and then I allow you to do just do hashtag ask, and that way I can scroll through and find them real quick. So make sure, oh my God, Donna Mendez. Let me just give everybody a piece of advice. If your question starts with, this might make you mad, but, think about, do you want to ask it? If you, seriously, Donna, you know the answer. What do you think? I'm not even going to answer it. What do you think my thoughts on keto are? If my whole mantra is lose it like you will live it, if your ass is going to be keto until you're 85, have at it. If you're doing it because you love yourself, it feels amazing in your body. I got some people with arthritis and shit. They do feel amazing. They have dementia running like buck wild through their family. They do it because it's yo, I want to live a long life. This plan is probably going to help me. But if you're doing it because you're I'm a fat ass and I think keto is going to work and I need something super restrictive and wah, no, it's a no. It's a hard ass no. Okay. Let's see. There was one more shout out somewhere. I thought there was another. Oh, here's Laurie Lowe. I'm going to have to zoom in on this. So guess who zipped up her wedding gown from 23 years ago? This girl did. From my highest weight, I'm down 48 pounds with Corinne in this group, down 15-ish. Super excited. So congratulations. And let me just tell you, your wedding dress, it was pretty. And then the last one is Sarah White Knight. Let's see. She started in March of 2017 when my dad said he was taking everyone to Disney for his retirement. And she's working on, she said, life threw her curveball, and she had thyroid cancer. She had a total thyroidectomy. Let's see, I'm not really where. Let's see. I decided 2 years ago that being overweight was so much worse and difficult than the diet and exercise. It doesn't matter how long it takes. She said, please don't give up. Being overweight is hard, and so is dieting. Choose your hard, choose yourself. I think she started, I'm trying to find in here. She said, let me tell you how many times I've wanted to say screw this and give up, pretty much on a daily basis. But I didn't give up. Every week I look at my data and I see what I can do better. I might not be able to lose much until my thyroid hormones get better, but I'm for damn sure not going to lose any progress that I've already made. So she had lost 85 pounds, and then she was halfway to her goal, and then she got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So I think that's amazing. And it's such a good, guys, this is why today's talk is so important. You have to know why you want to lose weight. And it has to be a fucking good reason. It does not need to be because you hate who you are. The secret to your why is this. It needs to tell you in a positive way what you want out of your life. So many of you are exhausted and tired because you're constantly running away from the person you are. You have all this shitty story that you tell yourself. You're so overweight. You're so out of control. You'll never get this. And then you think, my mama is in here just posting away. Y'all, everybody give shout out to Anna Harrison Wright. That's my mama. In case anybody knows, she lives in Florida. I think she's been missing her kids lately. I think my brother and I are kind of feeling like maybe been missing us. But here's the thing. We have to make sure that we are not running away from the person we are. We are inventing a new version of us. And it's not because this version is bad. And that's what I want you guys to understand. You want to make sure that you are and I think this is one of the hardest concepts of all. You have to like who you are right now. And I talked about this at camp, and this was a very hard concept for our girls, and so many of them cried because they're not there yet, but you got to work on it. It's you need to sit and think about you're doing all of this because you deserve it. Your actions, your compassion for your mistakes, your decisions to sit with it when it's hard and stuff are so much easier to take when you're doing it because you're so invested in becoming a person who has a healthy life, who, like, think about your whys. Everybody type in one of the whys behind why you're losing weight. Like for me, I wanted to be a mom who was setting the example for their kid so he could live a long, healthy life. I remember when mine shifted to wanting to be an athlete. I remember there was a time, and this is the other thing about your why, guys. Your why along losing weight changes over time. It's not just like, all right, so the one that I picked today is the only one, and that's the only one I'm ever going to think of. If you ever want to get really good at losing weight and you want to feel really good about the process and wake up each day excited, have a lot of whys. Have a lot of whys that are like thrilling and exciting and that like make you cry. That like, I just think about like all the time that I was losing weight. It was almost like I had spent so many years not even wanting to get out of bed because I hated myself so much, or that I just was like, had that fat girl thinking all the time and I would just dread my day. When I started thinking about all the reasons why I would like to lose weight, like I wanted to eventually become someone who was a healthy eater. I couldn't start there, but I knew I wanted to be that person one day. I would get excited about going to the grocery store and trying new things. I would sit there and think about, like, I remember dreaming about being an athlete. Like at 230 pounds, I started thinking about being an athlete one day. And like, what would that lifestyle look like? What kind of choices would they make? Did they follow a schedule? Did they just go to the gym, or did they find plans? Like I got excited about, like, it totally shifted the relationship I had with going to the gym when I started thinking along those lines. And then I remember when I guess I'd gotten like under 200, I started really dreaming about being a hot wife. I mean, I was like, I'd never been a sex pot. I wanted to be a sex pot. I thought about being a sex pot, and it became like, oh, wow. Like, I think I could do this. That made me excited about thinking about the kind of clothes a sex pot would wear. It made me excited thinking about like how I would act in front of Chris, like ways I would dress. I'm going to tell you, like, all that you guys see now, like when y'all talk about, of course, now today is a very poor example of the way Corinne dresses. I'm just saying that workout had to take precedent. Today, the athlete version took over the sex pot version of all of Corinne. But I want you guys to think about this. Like, I was always trying to think about like that future self, who I wanted to become. The biggest thing for me when it came to why about losing weight was I had to quit thinking so terribly about myself. You don't turn it on and off either. I'm just going to tell you right now, there ain't going to be no, well, Corinne told me to think positively about myself. And tomorrow, you're still going to wake up with those shit-tastic thoughts. I'm just going to tell you. Don't be shocked. Don't be mad. Don't think that they can't come in. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to just remember that when the shitty thoughts come in, plug in your whys. On purpose, schedule time to think about your future self. And for those of you who are like me, who have 100 pounds or more to lose, I thought about myself in small chunks. I didn't think about 150-pound Corinne at 250. I thought about, like, I was going to be thrilled when I got to 220. Like, there were just times. And then every time that I just kept focusing on my future, focusing on why I was doing it, because my future was why. I had to always think about her and how that was important. When I did that, guess what I didn't have as much time for? Shade. Like, all the shade gets squeezed out. It doesn't mean it doesn't come in. It doesn't mean any of that. All it means is that the more you purposely, consciously, and deliberately spend time in thoughts about where you're going, why you want to be there, the good feelings that you're going to have, embodying all that, the less time you have for all that bullshit you pile on yourself. That's one of the surefire ways to lessen the volume of that, is to plan time to think about it. So here's like places where I plan time. Usually when I'm driving, I spend on purpose time listening to podcasts that teach me the things that are the version of me that I want to be. If I'm in quiet time in the car, I purposely think about who I want to be, how I want to feel, where I want my mind to go. This is the thing about your why. You get to pick it, and then you have to deliberately take your brain and shove it in the direction it needs to go. It's only going to go if you're not consciously doing it. And when I say consciously doing it, I just mean like fucking do this on purpose. If you're not doing it on purpose, your brain wants to go to where it always goes. That's not a problem. That's just the way it works. I think a lot of you think, but the problem is where my brain wants to go. No, that's not the problem. The problem is you aren't telling it where to go. Big difference. Your brain has to be steered. I was telling my campers this weekend, I was like, guys, you guys sit around and y'all are acting like a bunch of toddlers in your brain. The brain is the toddler. You are the parent. It needs constant direction. It needs to be taught how to walk. It needs to be taught not to do this. It needs to be taught what to think. It needs to be taught what to do. That's your job. Your brain wants to be on autopilot, and that's fine. Your job is to steer it in the direction you want it to go so that one day autopilot is the new direction where to go. But if you just keep letting it think the same shit all the time and you get hung up in that's wrong, that's bad, that's this, that, and the other, you're not doing your work. You're throwing a fit. You're the toddler who's like laying on the floor bitching because they can't have M&Ms. Rather than being the parent who says, no, we're going to have fruit. Today we're going to have fruit. Tomorrow we're going to have fruit. For like 3 straight weeks, we have fruit instead of M&Ms. Guess what the toddler starts doing? Asking for fruit, not M&Ms. No more fits, no more crying. You guys have to quit bitching and moaning that thinking in a new way is hard. Thinking in a new way is part of the process. Everybody repeat it. Thinking a new way is just a part of the process. Period. Don't compile shit on it. So I want all of you to do this. I want you to think about why you're losing weight, and I want you to make a list. Just a list. And I want it to be a list where you're not trying to pick the right things. I want it to be the honest list. And I want you to see the difference between when you are pointing your brain in the direction of where you actually want to go and why, and when you're pointing your brain towards what you don't like about yourself and judging. If you're trying to lose weight from a negative space, guys, I want you to think about why most of us eat. Almost always when we're overeating because we're in that negative space. The more I can teach you to stay out of the negative space, the less desire you have to eat to cope. Then all we have to do is work on your eating habits. And tribe members, that's what we do all the time, right? I'm constantly like, your eating habits are the easy part to work on. Getting you to think differently, that's where our work is. And that's why we spend so much time on it inside of Tribe. All right, let's take the questions. Permjeet, did you ever get a flight out of Nashville? Seriously, poor Permjeet. She came all the way from Scotland to come to our retreat. Although I am sure that she was moved and had an amazing time 5 days with me, I'm just going to say. She got to meet me. She got to meet Kathy. She got to hug us. She gave me a beautiful necklace. It was amazing. But her flight keeps getting delayed. And here we are Wednesday. She's been here, I think she's been here a week. So hopefully she'll be able to get back home to Scotland soon. All right. So #ask. And then I will answer some questions. Corinne, I'm headed to Vegas this weekend. Well, you're headed to the glory land. That's all I know. I am planning one special eat. I'd like a good chocolatey dessert. Any restaurant suggestions? I know you would know where to go for nachos, but do you have any remarkable I do not. So I am, first of all, not a chocolate fan. That's like problem number one. I know I'm such a weirdo, but I don't like chocolate. I like vanilla. I like caramel, but I'm not a big chocolate fan. I bet you somebody in here does. I don't really know much about if you want to go nachos, though, go to Diablo's. They just reopened in the Luxor. I can tell you that much. Plus, Chris and I are like ridiculous. We don't eat a ton of Love your headband. Where is it from? We don't eat a ton of fancy food. We're always going for the junk food. Like when I'm going to eat in Vegas, like you're not going to hardly ever catch me eating something like really decadent and rich and all that other stuff. It's like we're always like loading up some nachos someplace. Or what else do we like? Oh, and French fries. If somebody's got good French fries, I'm all in. I'm not sure. This one was given to me as a gift, but I like the Bondi bands, B-O-N-D-I. How do you handle PMS cravings? I plan for them. I always know when my period's coming. I know what the foods I'm going to crave, and I put them on my plan so I'm not eating in response. Just plan wisely. That's it. I don't do anything different than I teach you guys, so it's still the 24-hour plan. Oh, I'm going to be on my period. I'm probably going to want to have this. So I just plan, and I plan to eat to my 2, and then the rest of it is just like, okay. I mean, it's just about getting conscious with it. And then I also tell myself, like, you have a period every month. It's time to start bucking up. Sometimes we're just not going to get to eat all the things. You can have this thing, but you don't get all the things. And I just tell myself that. It makes it so much like, one of the things I think that makes it different is when we feel like we're at the effect of our period, then we feel like a victim and we say, fuck it, and we eat. Rather than doing that, what if you just decide like you're not at the effect of your period, you're going to plan some stuff, and the rest, anything else that comes up gets managed like a normal craving the rest of the month. Period cravings aren't any worse or whatever than any other craving. Cravings are cravings. Here's the reason why I say that. It doesn't help you to think that PMS cravings are a unicorn. Everyone in here, think about this. If you're thinking your PMS cravings for food and overeating are a unicorn, are special, or whatever, it makes you feel more helpless. You do not need to be making choices based on a helpless feeling. You need to re-engineer your thinking around it. This is like any other time during the month. I will handle the cravings as they come. I'll create a plan, whatever you want to do, but you got to get out of the mindset of, oh my God, here comes a period. Woo. All right. Is it ever okay to eat for the joy of it? Just some Doritos because you love them, as many as you want, or am I dreaming? You're fucking dreaming, Mandy. Seriously, you're saying like, can I just eat unconsciously and just eat shit because I like it? And sometimes I should just eat all I want. That's like, I want you guys to think about this. I don't care if you plan Doritos, but what is why do you need it to just be all I want? That's always a signal of someone telling me I need to be able to eat all I want sometimes, because the rest of the time I feel like shit that I don't get what I want. No, you always get what you want because you always have a food plan. If you want Doritos every day, plan a fucking serving of Doritos. At the end of the week, see if you lose weight. If you don't, maybe do them every other day or whatever. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you guys are like whack. It's like, you just put it on the plan. I have so many of my girls are like, I've lost like 50 pounds. And guess what I've had every day? I have one of my, where is Michelle? Is Hot Mess Express in here? I don't know if Michelle's in here. Hot Mess Express is a group of my clients that they Marco Polo each other every morning, and they talk about my shit. They turn in their meal plan, whatever. She has lost so much weight, and she came up to me. She said, Corinne, and she's from Mississippi, and she's like, I know me. The only way that this plan's going to work is Michelle gets chocolate cake every day. She has chocolate cake on her plan every day. She eats her small serving of chocolate cake because she wants it. This is part of her lifestyle, and she is beautiful. And she is smart because she has put it on her plan. So many of you have like these rules around all this shit and you feel terrible about them. You take control over food. Food doesn't have magical powers, guys. Food is sitting around like my Huda lipstick. It'd be like everybody saying, I can't control myself around your lipstick. I just got to put it on right now. It's lipstick. It sits here. It either gets put on by me or it doesn't, just like food. You just got to decide, do you want it on your plan or not? If you want it on your plan, put it on there and make an agreement with yourself. Like, I'm done eating as if food controls me. I'm taking my reins. I'm going to plan things. If you like Doritos, plan a serving of Doritos. Enjoy the fuck out of the Doritos and then plan a salad tomorrow. Whatever you need to do. Sometimes I plan chips with my salad. I'm just like, I think I'm going to want some chips this week. So I plan to have chips with a salad. I never was overweight because I had a chips with salad problem. I was overweight because I thought I couldn't handle myself around chips and I'd eat a bag of Lay's for dinner. And I don't mean a bag, I mean the bag. Permy, I had the best time of my life in Nashville, is crying as I'm leaving today. Aw, I'm so glad you had such a good time. You better plan to come back. You need to start saving. I know that Scotland is not exactly the cheapest trip in the world, but we loved having you, and you're so insightful. I try to drink a gallon of water each day. Is that too much? I drink a gallon of water every day. You can drink too much water, guys, but here, I rarely ever have anyone drinking too much water. Look, I drink a gallon a day. Look how dry my lips are. It's a dry time of year here. In fact, I need to put more of my stuff on. I'm sitting here going, my lips are like jack-a-doodle in this thing. You want to look at your urine, and it should be pale yellow. As long as your urine is pale yellow, you're doing fine. Bellagio has a chocolate fountain, I have heard. Let's see. The Sugar Factory in Vegas, Serendipity for ice cream. Here we are at our weight loss talk about why we want to lose weight. And it's like, well, let me give you all the secrets to Vegas and where to eat. I've tried getting on the wait list for your site. Does it say waiting list, or do you just put your email in? You just put your email in, and that will get you on the wait list. If you go to pnptribe.com, you can get on the wait list, guys. Let's see. Can you give some examples of healthy oils to level up my 24-hour plan, and how many servings should I shoot for? I do not like avocado. Well, all the oils, not avocado, coconut oil. I do MCT oil in my coffee. I do full fat dairy. I do heavy whipping cream in my coffee. Also, sometimes you can do nuts, seeds. All of those are all healthy fats. In fact, what I would do is just go to Pinterest and type in healthy fats, and you will get 1,000,001 Pinterest pins on all kinds of healthy fats, and just pick some and put them in there. I never give everybody servings of them. I just include them each meal. Why does it seem harder to stay on plan when I'm not doing workouts? Workout days seem to give me cravings, or I just can't get satisfied ideas. I don't know. You would need to tell me what you're thinking about on that day. Cravings come from thoughts, not from exercise or lack of. You need to think about, I think sometimes for people, when they exercise, they're like, oh, I did so good today. I exercised. I want to make sure that, my eating matches it. If on days that you don't exercise, you make it mean it's going to be harder to lose weight, or I probably should have, or I'm sure my cravings are going to come in. Guess what? That's the thought process that goes behind it. Always just ask yourself, if it's harder to stay on plan on days you don't exercise, what are you making it mean when you don't exercise? This means I will what today? And that will be the explanation as to why you're having more cravings. I know what I need to do. It's getting started that I'm struggling with. How do I start? You start. Seriously, guys, you always, this is when people ask me, well, how do I start? It's because you're waiting around to feel good, motivated, excited, thrilled, whatever it is. Guys, I really want you to say, that would be like me saying, I really want to go to the grocery store, and I know I'm going to have to start my car. Can you tell me how to start my car? How do you get yourself to start your car? That is the same thing. You know what you do? You go get in the car and you put the key in, or you push the button. You're going to have to just start. Just decide, though, what are you going to start with? Usually, guys, what I notice is when you're like, I'm all struggle bus on how to get started. It's no. You need to tell yourself, it's no struggle bus. What we're going to do is we're going to plan one thing. We're going to do it for a few days. Here's what blocks you, though. But that's not good enough. That won't be good enough. Here's what's not good enough. Acting like you don't know how to start. Acting like you need a glorious plan. Acting like it's so complicated, or that you need motivation. Motivation's earned. It is not given. It is not from this podcast. It is not from a Facebook Live. Here's what motivation is. You get that shit once you start taking action. So that means you need to list, all right, what can I do today? What is something that I know I can do today that will not be hard to get done? And that is where I start. And all this other shit that I'm going to tell myself about it not being enough, I need more, blah, blah, blah. No. Sometimes you guys are going to just have to have a hard no with that stuff. And I'm not joking. You need to just be no, this is it. Today, I make a 24-hour plan. I don't even have to follow it. But you know what my ass has to do? Write it on some paper. My first hurdle is getting my ass to write shit down, whether I follow it or not. That's step one. But so many of you are like, well, I don't want to write it down because I don't ever follow it. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Get in the habit of writing it down first. Quit whining about it. Then when you don't follow it for a few days, your next hurdle, guess what? Making that shit real so that you can start following it. Y'all, there's like so many steps that you can be taking. Your problem is you think that they have to be perfect. What if there's like 1,000 different ways to do it? And you're cutting yourself off at the knees because you only want to do it one way, the perfect way. Bullshit. I am more, like, I'm going to tell you what, I am way more interested in losing weight and keeping it off than I am in doing it perfectly. Like, what is your goal? To be perfect, or is your goal to lose weight? Because those two things don't go together. So just fucking be honest with yourself. Do I want to be perfect, or do I want to lose weight? How did you know when you hit your goal weight? Did you have a certain number in mind? Did that number shift in the process of weight loss? Yeah, I had all kinds of different goals. For a long time, mine was 175. I was like, oh, Lord, I just need to get to 175. I've never been below 175. This will be amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then I got to 174. I was like, holy shit, maybe I can weigh less than that. Mind blown. I remember for a long time, I just wanted to get under 200. I'd been in the like 250 for so long, and plus some, that I was like, I just want to get under 200. If I could just break Wonderland, I'd be just thrilled. And I was. And then when I got there, I was like, well, what else can I do? Eventually, I just kind of settled into a look that I liked. And I've got like a range that I like and stuff. I think it's just a matter of like, I try to get people like, just get close to where you want to be and then just be willing to play with it. So like, I want to see if I like this weight, live in a little bit. I always just tell people, it's like, you'll know. My number on the scale, though, was never my goal. Like, I never wanted to just weigh this much. I've always been more conceptual about what I wanted. Like, I wanted to be healthy, in control of food. I wanted to be an exerciser. Like, I wanted to be sexy. Those were my whys and those were my goals. And then that number kind of just settled in. How do you deal with irritating husbands who start to try to teach me what to put on my plan? I jumped all over his ass. Well, I don't get pissed at my husband when he tries to tell me how to eat. I also don't get pissed at him when he eats very differently than me. I just figure my mouth, my business, his mouth, his business. I also always remember, guys, because everybody has opinions. I always think about, like, if Chris is telling me what I should and shouldn't do, like, Chris doesn't ever do that with food, but he does that with other things. Like, there's plenty of places in my life he has strong opinions on. And most of the time, what I try to remember is the reason why he's telling me these things is because he loves me and because he thinks that this will help. It's not like your husband sitting around going, I'm going to show her. Here's what I really want to do. Aggravate the fuck out of her with some advice so that she can feel helpless and terrible and mad. Maybe she'll even yell at me a little bit. That will make it all even so much better. Like, I always think, like, that's probably not how it's going down in his brain. In his brain, he's just like, I have this amazing knowledge, and I'm going to share it. And I'm going to feel great because I get to feel like the voice of authority. And she'll probably even like it because all I've done is watch her struggle with her weight all these years. She needs an expert just like me. Like, that's what his mind is saying. Your brain is saying, he's such a dick. He shouldn't ask me these things. He shouldn't tell me shit. He should know I'm listening to this lady on a podcast. Like, no. Drop that crap. Just be like glad that you have a husband who's willing to give you an opinion. We have plenty of girls out here whose husbands don't even want them to lose weight. Like, always be mindful. And if you're irritated, if you're jumping all over his ass, you're judging him. Don't be judgy. Why? Why shouldn't he offer you advice? Whatever the answer to that question is, you need to check that part. I'd really check it because it's not helping you. How do you handle scheduled meal times? My work shuts down for all of us to eat at 11:30 or 12. I've done better bringing lunch so I can plan ahead, but it's the only break I get. I just eat. Like, if that's your lunchtime, that's when I eat. I wouldn't make any dramatic thing out of it. I would just still eat until I'm satisfied, and then I'm done. What am I writing on my list today? Can somebody tell Julie? I think what we are doing is we're writing down all of our reasons why, and we're not just writing down the good ones. We're going to write all the reasons why we want to lose weight so that we can see the ones that are holding us back from like the negative ones are the ones that are not going to drive you forward. And we also want to see how many we have that are for the positive reasons. You can also take your negative ones, guys, very often flip them. I just want you thinking in the positive. Do you wear a Fitbit and an Apple Watch? I was thinking it was too much, but I want to have both for the challenges with friends. I wear the Apple Watch mainly just to track like my exercise, to see the time, because I wear a cheap Fitbit, but I love the challenges. So, and plus like Apple Pay, my calendar's on here. It's just, I don't know. We're Apple users in my family. So I do have an Apple Watch, but I use the Fitbit because I have friends in challenges and I love my challenges. I don't win any of them, but it's always fun to feel like I'm doing something. I'm usually like dead last or struggle bus on the bottom third. I sit a lot at work. So like my goal is 5,000 steps a day. If I can get 5,000 steps a day, my Fitbit challenge goal is 7,500 a day. But in my heart, I'm like, I know if I do 5,000, I've consciously gotten up and walked around for the day. Most of my workouts are strength training or the Peloton bike. They don't exactly make me a champion in the Fitbit world, and that's okay. If you're getting back on track, Valerie, you need to go listen to the podcast. Guys, a lot of these questions are answered in the podcast. Please make sure you're listening to it. You can go to PHIT.click, CLICK/podcast, and you can find all kinds of podcasts. We're nearing the 200 mark on podcasts. Doing well with the hunger scale for breakfast and lunch. Dinner's my problem. My thoughts are, I made this dinner, by golly, I'm going to enjoy it. That's so funny because like that has nothing to do with your hunger scale. What if you just eat to satisfied and enjoy the fuck out of eating to satisfied? This is family time. Yeah, it is family time. Eat to satisfied. Enjoy the hell out of it with your family. What if I'm hungry at 9? Do I go to bed with a full belly? If you're hungry at 9, well, I don't understand that. What if I'm hungry at 9 p.m.? Then eat a snack or go to bed hungry. There's 2 choices. Period. You're creating a lot of drama and a lot of lies in your head about eating to satisfied. That somehow it takes away from family time. Stuffing your face and being overfull has nothing to do with family time. It has everything to do with stuffing your face and feeling full. Sitting around saying, I can't enjoy it unless I stuff myself and eat too much. No, you can learn how to enjoy it eating till satisfied. It has nothing to do with that. Tell yourself the truth. The last thing, if I'm hungry at 9 o'clock, okay, I'll deal with that if it happens. I'll either start planning a snack or I won't. But it's not complicated. Do I go to bed with a full belly? Well, here's the thing. You could go work out, I guess. But if you overstuff yourself, you're probably going to bed with a full belly. Like, there's no confusion on that one. It's like, yep, I'm going to bed, and here I am full. I should probably work on that because I'm not supposed to be full. I'm supposed to be satisfied. Heather, there's a podcast on seasonal depression. I would go over to Losing 100 Pounds of Fit and Fat and listen to it. How do you work through the fear of gaining the weight back as you begin making progress? That's something that you have to work on. So this is where you need to be really like, why would you gain the weight back? And here's the thing. Just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it will happen this time. And that's like the most important thing for everybody to remember. You have to start teaching your brain that the past is what you learn from. It's not what you rely on to predict your future. Just because like every single time I lost weight, guess what? I gained it back, except for the last time. Why? Because I started deciding I was going to learn how to lose weight a new way. I was going to learn how to lose weight to love myself, to create a version of me I adored, to enjoy the process, to make sure that what I was doing was shit I liked. So I never had to worry about that part. If you learn how to love the process, you won't want to give up your process. No, there's nowhere to get. The only thing we had, I think there's like I don't think we do my free course, go to pnp411.com, download the free course. I think there's like a, no, I don't put the 24-hour plan in there. The tribe members have a they have a 2-page 24-hour plan. It's like, here's the plan, here's the assessment, here's all the guided questions, here's everything you're going to need. I don't really give it out. If you do the Back to Basics challenge, you do get like a boilerplate version of that, but we only do that once every time before I open. Here's the thing. You don't need a worksheet. Write down what you're going to eat. At the end of the day, decide, did you eat that? If you did, great, celebrate. If you didn't, ask yourself why and how you're going to do it better tomorrow. There you go. How are you always able to pick a topic that is exactly what I needed to hear? Today it was super easy. So my coaches are here. Betsy is going home today back to Little Rock, and Kathy lives down the street, of course. And then I said, guys, I'm fixing to go live. What do you want me to talk about? And they gave me a really good topic. And honestly, I think my tribe members will tell you, I read for 30 minutes before I even got started working out today on stuff that I'm getting ready to teach them next month, all about self-accountability and how do you hold yourself accountable to your goal and stuff. And so like I study like a banshee for these girls. Like I am constantly just filling my head with everything that I can think of in every different direction to solve weight loss problems. And so I've gotten to where now it's like I can just talk about things. But we also are really good at really understanding. I think this is the biggest thing, is that when you have had a weight problem in your past, and when you are so like I just surround myself with other people who are trying to be like the healthiest version of them. And I mean, like from a perspective, like they want to lose weight. I just really understand what we all need to hear. I also really have a deep understanding of what we don't need to hear. The rest of the diet industry is telling us so much shit that we don't need. Like all this keto bullshit and counting calories, and they're always all about how to lose weight. Like all the little like weird steps, and they never are truly addressing our whys. What's getting in our way? Why don't we follow our plans? Like no one's teaching us that stuff. And that's the most important part to teach, because it doesn't matter what plan you have. If you're doing it because you hate yourself, or you're doing it because you're white knuckling all the way through it and you're never really creating like a process you love and stuff, it's all for naught. That's what the rest of the diet industry keeps kind of like shoving down our throats. So I think for me personally, it's like, how do I always know? I just know that we need more mental work than we need another, like, here's a food list and here's the things you can't eat. We got plenty of those in the world. Nobody needs to be putting one more of those out there. How often do you check the scale? I pretty much weigh daily unless I forget. I mean, every now and then, like I'm in a rush and I have to get in my shower, I got to get places, and I'm just like, I don't have time to weigh today. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, I just am like getting busy, and I'll like go ahead and start putting my clothes on, be like, oh fuck, I didn't even weigh this morning. Mine is that, I forget what the name of I don't know. My husband set all of it up, but we now have one that automatically connects to the Happy Scale app. I have gotten to where I don't mind weighing. No matter what it says, I just don't mind weighing. And I learned that skill on the way down. I remember when I was losing weight, even in my like 200s, the lower 200s, I had gotten to where I really felt like I knew I had to start managing my mind around the number and seeing progress, or when I didn't see progress, learning how to see progress and how I was showing up for myself and how I was eating and what I was doing, so that I was never going to go back to feeling defeated. Have you started the no BS work? Oh wait, that's somebody talking to someone else. If you're not hungry all day, do you not eat? Strange, I have no appetite. Not complaining, just asking. I don't. It happens every now and then. You never know when you may be getting a cold. You never know when just your body is just like, doesn't need a lot. Maybe it is like really, fueling off of stuff you've ate before. I will say it rarely happens. Every now and then, usually almost always, if I have a day where I'm not hungry and I don't eat for a long time, it has way more to do with it's usually for me, I'm kind of run down and I need to rest more than I need to eat. It's almost like my body's saying, why don't you take a nap? like, or why don't you go to bed early or something? So I think that's my body's way of saying I'd rather you rest than I'd rather you eat, because there might be something coming up in the future, like a cold that I don't know about. I rarely get sick. And I think it has a lot to do with me listening to what my body truly needs versus trying to shove it full of food when it actually needs more rest or something. That's just, I'm going to tell you right now, that is not scientific. That is just me guessing about my body, but I would much rather think that that's the way it's behaving than any other thing. It feels very empowered and very aware. Yesterday, I had bulletproof coffee at 8 a.m. and then didn't get hungry for a meal until 6:30. Hey, Nicole. This is one of my tribe members. When I usually get hungry at about noon, I redirected my brain all day telling it that my body will tell me when I'm hungry. I know our bodies are all different, but do you know why my body would take that long to get hungry? Well, if you have weight to lose, it was tapping into all the calories. So I always like to use this example. Do you remember that day that you overate because you stopped at Jimmy John's and then you also got or somewhere and you also got a milkshake? On that day, you ate more than what your body needed. Today, it's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll use those calories because you were saving up this whole time. Sometimes, guys, when you're losing weight and you're starting to when you're starting to eat a little bit less and you're really listening to your body, then your body says, okay, I'm all in. It's time to start using all those calories you've been saving this whole time when you were overeating. Like, nobody freaks out about that part. We freak out that we might not be hungry. Like, that's so weird. It's like, yeah, but think about all the times you overate. Like, your body has that on you. It has to get rid of it. If it's really going to start losing weight, sometimes it's going to be like, hey, I'm totally in the mode right now. I'm accessing all that shit you've been doing. Let it do it. It won't do that forever. I think you guys think that one day of not being hungry is going to lead to months of it. No, maybe 2 or 3, maybe just 1. The key is really understanding your body knows what it's doing. Your brain doesn't. Your brain knows conditioning and habits and fear and Your body is like, I don't know that shit. You know what I know? I'm tapping into these calories on your ass. That's all I know. If you send me food, I stop tapping your ass. Do you have a mantra to turn you positive just starting? I usually just, I'm going to give you the one I used when I first started. I'm going to figure it out. I tell myself all the time to this day, just going to figure this out. I don't go to confusion. I don't go to self-doubt. I don't worry and stuff. I always just say, look, we're just going to figure this out. My team members kid with me all the time. My son even yesterday told me I should be a president because I can make decisions really quick. I make fast decisions and stuff because I have this whole idea. There's no wrong decision. There's just do, and let's figure it out. The day that I really decided that I could figure anything out if I would just keep moving forward, released a lot of pressure off of me. It released the pressure of having to be right, having to be fast, having to be, get there now syndrome, all that kind of stuff. So that was always super helpful. Let's see. I just started Zumba as my exercise. My husband says I should be drinking a recovery drink. Do you feel they really help? I'm down 22 pounds. If you are down 22 pounds doing Zumba, you do not need a recovery drink. Tell your husband that I lift all the time. All the time. I lift heavy. I don't do recovery drinks. I listen to my body. You're losing weight. Don't fuck it up by listening to your husband. Don't be mad at him. Now, he's just offering an opinion, but that's just his opinion. You know what he's not? Your belly. Your stomach will let you know. I'm hungry right now. As soon as I get off here, I'm going to eat something. It's 9:30, 9:21. I normally eat at 11. Guess what today is? One of those days where I'm hungry. My belly growling. It's just sitting here talking. It's okay, it's just time to eat. I was never overweight because I responded to hunger. I was overweight because I was afraid to be hungry. So I did a lot of eating out of fear of being hungry. Now I just wait for hunger and eat when I'm hungry. It's such a mind fuck, but it works, guys. All right. If you want the free course, you need to go to pnp411.com. Guys, it's super helpful. It has a video, has a little like workbook that you can use. It addresses the most important things of weight loss. You're going to be thinking about how do you get committed? How do you get started? And how do you keep going? Like, those are the basics everyone has to have. I also highly recommend all of you listen to the podcast on the regular, so make sure you subscribe. It comes out on Fridays and Saturdays. What you're watching here is the Facebook Live version. That comes out on Saturdays. So if you miss me live, you can always catch the replay. If you want to hear me and Kathy's show where we are like, breaking down the latest things you guys need to know in order to lose weight, you can go to fit.click/podcast. That's fit, PHIT. It's losing 100 pounds with fit and fat. I think the easiest way to find it in iTunes is just type in losing and the number 100, and it usually comes up. Subscribe. Don't rely on your brain to remember to listen. That is the worst thing to do. That's why I have you write 24-hour plans. I do not want you sitting there fondling the idea that you're going to just eat healthy today. Write down what you're going to eat for the day so that you don't forget. You cement it, you lock it in, and you don't have to remember to eat healthy. You can always look at what you wrote down. Our brains are not geared to store a lot of information, no matter how entertaining and how useful it is. Your 24-hour plan and my podcast are competing with all the other thoughts you have about yourself, your perfectionistic thoughts, your thoughts about your to-do list, your thoughts about your husband. I don't want to compete with all them. I want to be a no-brainer. So subscribe to my podcast. It'll come out every Friday and Saturday. Otherwise, guys, I will see you next week. Remember, we are at 8:30. I think my tribe members, I think it's wrong on our calendar. We'll fix that today. Thank you, Miss Missy, for pointing me into, showing me that we have it wrong on our calendar. But I'll see you next Wednesday. Y'all have a good week. And remember, just find your why. Your why is important. You need to have it in order to lose your weight. Bye, y'all.